It's Tuesday, March 18th, and here's some of the news beyond the headlines. Despite Myanmar's attempts to eradicate the farming of opium poppies, production is picking up again. The UN estimates that Myanmar produced 870 tons of opium last year, a 26% increase over 2012 and the highest figure in a decade. The government-aligned Pai Tu Sit militias force farmers to grow poppies, lend them money for seeds, protect fields from being eradicated, and get the opium to the end user, all to finance their ongoing battles with other militias. Many residents in these rural communities where opium is being farmed say they're sick of seeing their community ripped apart by the drug. But growing opium is one of the few ways they can make money in these poor communities. The silk industry in northwest Pakistan's Swat Valley collapsed when the Taliban took control of the area. 7 years later, the industry hasn't bounced back, leaving thousands unemployed. At its height, the silk industry employed 25,000 people. But in 2007, when the Taliban insurgency took over, up to 30 silk-making factories were destroyed and looted. Today, silk factories employ fewer than 4,000 people. The provincial government failed to make good on its promises to set up an industrial trade zone that's aimed at attracting investors to come back to Swat Valley. British troops have pulled out of all but one frontline outpost out of 137, marking one of the last steps in its 13-year mission in Afghanistan. Afghan forces are now leading 97% of all security operations across the country and are carrying out 90% of their own training. But the Afghan National Army is impacted by desertions and low re-enlistment rates that force it to replace a third of its entire force every year. Even though Britain's Prime Minister David Cameron says that troops are coming home with the message "mission accomplished," deployment is controversial. Many are calling Afghanistan an absolute failure, with US tax dollars and military equipment landing directly in the hands of the Taliban. About 10,000 Syrian children living in Lebanon's refugee camps are suffering from severe malnutrition. The civil war, which just marked its third anniversary, has displaced nearly a third of the 23 million people who call Syria home. Nearly half of those displaced by the war are children. Severe malnutrition, at its core, is a hygiene issue, not strictly a food issue. Refugee children are regularly exposed to dirty drinking water or sewage, which exacerbate malnutrition. These conditions are likely to worsen as the civil war continues. Check out the VICE News YouTube channel for more original reporting and documentaries from around the world.
Можно спросить у вас, за кого вы будете голосовать? То есть за что вы будете голосовать?
За присоединение к России.
Почему?
Потому что хотим жить лучше. Все изменится в нашей жизни, мы надеемся на это.
What do they supply you with?
Petrol, pen.
How do you make a petrol bomb?
Petrol, sugar in a bottle, we sugar whack and then throw it.
When we're brought up seeing it.